Morning. It's Randy. I'm going to read part of an article that is by Sam Vaknin, and it's dated May 12, 2014. Why narcissists cheat on their spouses, commit adultery, and have extramarital affairs and liaisons. So, the beginning of the article is pretty basic, a lot of things that most of us on these channels already know. So I'm going to read the parts that I thought were particularly interesting and new. Some narcissists prefer complicated situations. If men, they prefer virgins, married women, frigid, or lesbian women. Now, this is the first time I ever read this in an article. My ex-narcissist, I think, might have thought I was frigid because I was none of the others when he met me. He also was quite young, so I'm not sure that his narcissism had developed to a point where he was actually seeking out these complicated situations. But if I was to pick any of those four, he might have thought I was frigid, and apparently these kind of complicated situations present a challenge to the narcissist, the somatic narcissist, that is. And I do remember that I had been talking about some previous guys I had dated recently, right when I met the narcissist, and he got quite jealous of me mentioning that I had dated and that I liked Arab guys. Basically, I just told him that they were nicer than American guys, and I was young and I was just bullshitting anyways. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, making these generalizations, but those kinds of comments caught his attention, and I think he brought that up several different times in the years after that. I thought I liked these Arab guys, and basically he was going to show me that he's better than that, and it presented a challenge to him. So also the same narcissist is now preoccupied with lesbians, and he apparently married a virgin. So you can see all 3 out of the 4 of these complicated situations right within the same narcissist. And that's just by my pure experience. The article goes on, the more difficult the target, the more rewarding the narcissistic outcome. Such a narcissist may be married, but he does not regard his extramarital affairs as either immoral or a breach of any explicit or implicit contract between him and his spouse. And that is exactly the way that my ex-husband approached his own cheating behavior, as if it was not immoral or any kind of a breach of contract. Yeah, go figure. He keeps explaining to anyone who cares to listen that his other sexual partners are nothing to him, meaningless, that he's merely taking advantage of them, and that they do not constitute a threat and should not be taken seriously by his spouse. Yes, my narcissist did tell me that these sexual partners were meaningless to him. He didn't say he was taking advantage of them, but he basically didn't think that I should take them seriously. In his mind, a clear separation exists between the honest woman in his life, who's really a saint, no, that's me, and the whores that he's having sex with. Well, yes, yes and no, because he ended up marrying one of those whores, or, should I say, the one that was a virgin and a lesbian. So anyway, with the exception of the meaningful woman in his life, he tends to view all females in a bad light. Yes, that is true. I saw that on a daily basis. His behavior thus achieves a dual purpose, securing narcissistic supply on the one hand and reenacting old unresolved conflicts and traumas, abandonment by primary objects, and the Oedipal conflict, for instance. So yes, I also saw that his behavior was serving a dual purpose in that he viewed me on a pedestal while all other females in a bad light. And of course, I loved that. I thought that just meant, I'm the one, right? When inevitably abandoned by his spouse, yes, I did abandon him eventually, the narcissist is veritably shocked and hurt. Yeah, I think he was shocked. He didn't think I would ever do it. This is the sort of crisis which might drive him to psychotherapy. No, it didn't. Still, deep inside, he feels compelled to continue to pursue precisely the same path. Exactly. So he's shocked and doesn't feel that his cheating is important. And then when is threatened to be abandoned or abandoned by the spouse, rather than look at himself and stop, or become introspective, he actually continues to pursue precisely the same path while saying he's very sorry and it meant nothing, and continuing to do it. His abandonment is cathartic. It's purifying. Wow. I had no idea that me abandoning him was going to be purifying to him. That sucks. It says, following a period of deep depression and suicidal ideation, the narcissist is likely to feel cleansed, invigorated, unshackled, and ready for the next round of hunting. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happened. Do you remember this article is by Sam Vaknin, who is not a somatic narcissist. So he's talking about somatic narcissists without that direct experience. So although I know that somatic and cerebrals will flip-flop and that they do have some of both in, they're just primarily one or the other. Then he says there's another type of narcissist. He also has bouts of sexual hyperactivity in which he trades sexual partners and tends to regard them as objects. However, with him, this is a secondary behavior. It appears mainly after major narcissistic traumas and crises. A painful divorce, a devastating personal financial upheaval, and this type of narcissist adopts the view that the old intellectual solutions do not work anymore. He frantically gropes and searches for new ways to attract attention, to restore his false ego, which equals his grandiosity, and to secure a subsistence level of narcissistic supply. Sex is handy and a great source of the right kind of supply. It's immediate, sexual partners are interchangeable, the solution is comprehensive. It encompasses all the aspects of the narcissist's being. Natural, highly charged, adventurous, and pleasurable. Thus, following a life crisis, the cerebral narcissist is likely to be deeply involved in sexual activities, very frequently and almost to the exclusion of all other matters. So, Sam jumps to now talking about the cerebral narcissist. However, the memories of the crisis fade as the narcissist's wounds heal, as the narcissist's cycle recommences and the balance is restored. This second type of narcissist reveals his true colors. He abruptly loses interest in sex and in all his sexual partners. Now, that did not occur with me, so obviously mine was much more somatic than he was cerebral. He's saying that that kind of narcissist is even more afraid of commitment and emotional involvement than the somatic, I guess. Some of Sam's articles become confusing because he flip-flops between the cerebral and somatic, and then he's also saying there's kind of two kinds of somatics, but he doesn't give them a name, and he mixes them up in the article. So I think that this shows that Sam is really not clear about what kind of labels he wants to give these different kinds, and perhaps there really aren't different kinds. It's just a certain phase that someone may go through. It says that the narcissist becomes completely immersed in big projects, lifelong plans, a vision or a cause, all very rewarding narcissistically and all very demanding and time-consuming. In such circumstances, sex inevitably becomes an obligation. Okay, so that's cerebral. Going to go down to, this was true for me, ostensibly ignoring women other than his wife, a form of aggression. He feels righteous in saying, I'm a faithful husband. At the same time, he feels hostility toward his spouse for ostensibly preventing him from freely expressing his sexuality, for isolating him from his carnal pleasures. Yes, that is true. The narcissist's thwarted logic goes something like this. I am married, attached to this woman, therefore I am not allowed to be in any form of contact with other women, which might be interpreted as more than casual or businesslike. This is why I refrain from having anything to do with women, because I am being faithful, as opposed to most other immoral men. Well, I don't know how my narcissist felt about being faithful when he was being faithful, but I'm sure he wasn't doing it for any kind of moral reasons. However, the narcissist doesn't like this faithful situation. He envies his free peers. They can have as much sex and romance as they want to, while I'm confined to this marriage, chained by my wife, my freedom curbed. I'm angry at her, and I will punish her by abstaining from sex from her. And that would be the cerebral narcissist, because I never got punished from him abstaining. Believe me, that would have been a gift. He punished me by just going ahead and doing whatever he wanted, so he didn't feel chained by me anymore. And then he would create fights so that he would become mad at me. Then he would use being mad at me as an excuse to go and seek out other sources of sexual supply, strangers mainly, and he used that as an excuse. His idea was, I'm angry at her, so that's why I'm doing it, and that gave him justification. So therefore, basically, be careful. Don't ever make your narcissist mad at you, because if they are, they'll have a reason to cheat. You know, that's a really good reason, isn't it? And people never get mad at each other in relationships. So the article basically kind of deteriorates after that. I thought the most important and interesting parts were the challenged kinds of situations that the somatic narcissist seeks out as a way to conquer and secure new sources of narcissistic supply. But they do lose interest, and they have all these inner conflicts. They go from wanting freedom to needing the one married person, to wanting their freedom, to wanting that one married person. And they just flip-flop you all back and forth until everybody's crazy, and they make someone want to either commit suicide or homicide. Have a great day.